Hey there, this is Mr. Wilford, and I just wanted to go through Chapter 8, Section 5 with you. This is all about the law of sines and the law of cosines. And in the past, in this chapter, we've been able to solve right triangles. And now what we want to do is take a look at finding ways of finding other kinds of triangles, solving other kinds of triangles. And this is really just any triangle. It doesn't have to be a right triangle. So these are kind of useful formulas. And you want to have a good graphing calculator or scientific calculator. As you can see here, we're just punching in different angles and different trig functions. You're going to be using your graphing calculator or scientific calculator to solve some of these things. And basically, again, what we're doing is we're talking about any kind of triangle. So triangle ABC, it does not have to be a right triangle. And the first one we want to take a look at here is the law of sines. And this is a relationship between the angle and the side opposite that angle. So you can see here this is pretty straightforward. We have sine of angle A divided by side A equal to sine of angle B divided by side B, and that's equal to sine of angle C divided by side C. So you can see here that here is angle A and the side opposite that is side A. And so we have really just a ratio or a comparison with these three fractions. And this allows us to find or solve triangles if we know a couple of things, either a couple of angles and a side opposite, or a couple of sides and the angle opposite to one of those sides. You can see here in this example, setting up the law of sines, I can pretty much fill in everything. Sine 105 divided by 18 is equal to sine of 32 divided by this side df. That would be the side opposite that 32-degree angle. And if you know how to cross multiply, a lot of times that's usually the easiest way to go about that. And just solving for df, we would divide both sides by sine 105. And then this is where you would take your calculator and you'd get about 9.9 for the side df. Same thing happens here. This time we know a couple of sides, 7 and 5, and we know an angle opposite side 7, and so we can cross multiply. In this case, when we're solving, we want to solve for sine s, and then we would use actually our inverse sine button, and we would get out an angle. So that angle there would be about 44 degrees. Now, a lot of times you're going to find out that the law of sines is very useful, and you can solve a lot of triangles that way using the law of sines. However, there are some cases where you cannot solve every triangle with the law of sines, and so we have something called the law of cosines. Here we have triangle ABC, and we have the lengths, the sides ABC. You can see here these three equations actually would make up the law of cosines. And it almost looks like a Pythagorean theorem here. A squared equals b squared plus c squared, except we're subtracting 2 times bc and then times cosine of angle A. You have to be a little bit careful how you label everything and how you look at the triangles. But again, if you just plug everything into the formula, you should be able to find the missing side or angle. And here's a couple of examples here. And you can see in this first example, we're trying to find side BC. And we know everything else. We can plug everything else in. Again, be careful using your calculator, making sure that you plug this in correctly. And we get BC squared is equal to this number here, 158.6932. And then, of course, we would take the square root to both sides to get side BC. Where the law of cosines really comes into play is when you know all three sides of a triangle. A lot of times it's real easy to measure sides or the lengths of things, and we don't always have the tools to measure the angles. And so we're able to actually plug in all these numbers for the sides and then carefully, solve for cosine r, and then again we take the inverse of cosine and we get the angle 107. Now remember, if you know two angles, then you can solve for the third angle. The easiest way is to take 180 and subtract out the two angles once you know that. So there you have the law of cosines and the law of sines, and there's a lot of application problems that you can go through and solve these sorts of triangles as you go through here. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.